Are you a brewer looking to open, grow, or plan your next move? I'm Ted Zeller, liquor law attorney at Norris McLaughlin. I've spent my career working with breweries, helping them navigate the regulations that come with this industry at the municipal, county, state, and federal levels. From first permits to expansion into new markets, my team serves as legal counsel on licensing, compliance, and distribution. If you're ready to plan your next move or need legal guidance, I am here to help. Feel free to call me at 484-765-2220 or email me at tzeller@norris-law.com.
You guys made a Madeira or a...
It is a 40 Plato barley wine.
How long was the boil for that?
If I told you, you'd call me a liar. It's 26 hours.
Jeez. Jeez. And I hope that you put at the brewery, right? That's not how your brew house exploded?
No. At Black Shirt in particular, well, now I've already said too much, but at a place I previously worked at, there was an alcove above the fermenters that had a small cot. So I essentially could do that and be about 8 feet away from the kettle.
Nice.
It wasn't the most comfortable, but it was the safest.
Yeah.
So it went through forced oxidation, it went through barrel aging, it went through being buried in clay amphoras, it went through a lot of iterations and a lot of beating up, and is still to this day just an indestructible beverage. But unfortunately,
we have 4 bottles about it?
Yeah,
we have 4 bottles.
Yeah, very
a little
white.
Yeah, so it went in clay amphoras and then were bears in my backyard through most of it. It's just a clay jug essentially.
Welcome back to BrewedAt Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always by Evan Blum.
Hello.
So today we welcome on, you guys just won an award for Best of Philly, right? Best of Philly, yeah. The best new brewery in Philadelphia, Concordance Ferments, Dave and Abe. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So you guys, we'll start off with some beer. You guys brought a bunch of great beers for us. Can we just run through them real quick, and then we'll start off with the table beer you said?
Yeah, so the table beers are afternoon tea. It's a Norse table beer that we run with a white tea blend from Yunnan that's really, really delightful. And we punched up a little bit of the late hopping on this run, but it's like 4%, 4.2%, kind of hovers right around there.
With what hops?
This was just a Citra dry hop.
Nice.
Or Citra late hop, rather.
Nice. Go pop that open?
Yeah, go for it.
And the Hill Farmstead growler, so we did you right? You used to work at Hill Farmstead, one of you guys?
I apprenticed there for a while.
Nice.
I scrubbed a lot of mold and did a lot of menial tasks, and it was really good. I got to learn a whole lot from those guys.
It's cool.
Dan was also out there at the time, Suarez, who I got to learn a lot from as well. So I was very lucky to be around there at that point in time.
There we go. So I guess you have been brewing for a while, right?
Yeah, a little under 20 years.
Wow. Cool. And then is this your first time working in a professional brewery?
Professionally, yeah. I spent the last decade plus as a software engineer. This is a little different, but it's all fun. Yeah. Beer's cooler than computers, man.
So, I guess, Abby, you've been doing this longer, right? Should we start with you?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll start out. We'll do like the whole timeline, and then like, how did you guys meet? Because I don't think are you from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I grew up Mount Airy, Germantown area.
Okay, but you are not from Pennsylvania, right?
I am not.
Okay, so you started where, New Hampshire?
Yeah, so I grew up kind of Vermont, New Hampshire border. So at that time, I was kind of coming back from college, and I was doing graphic design work and things, and a lot of the startup businesses at that time were breweries. So I started kind of doing more with breweries, and that led to home brewing and kind of finding some stuff I liked.
You doing graphic design for some breweries up there?
A couple way back. It was like 2006, 2007.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, it's been a minute.
Are you doing the design work for Concordance?
Some of it. We had a friend of Abe's that helped us do the logo design on this one.
That's great. What I do.
The labels and everything. Just some minor stuff, but yeah, still doing a little bit of graphic work here and there.
Nice. So you started started home brewing?
Yeah, and then that led to a couple of apprenticeships at some places, and that led to a couple more apprenticeships, and then that led to my mentor at the time asking me, hey, what are you planning on doing? because I was kind of spinning my wheels with the stuff I had gone to school for. So,
And what did the apprenticeships entail? Were they full-time gigs, or were you stopping by on the weekend to clean kegs?
at first one was a little more open, so it was kind of like a once a week thing. But then when I was up at Hill, it was whenever I could kind of come up there. There were plenty of events that needed extra hands and things of that nature, bottling runs and all types of stuff. So it was always a good time to go up there and shoot the shit with those guys.
So obviously, Hill and Farmstead, like, considered one of the best, if not the best breweries in the country or the world in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Extremely talented individual.
What was that like up there? I imagine you had a bunch of people rolling through, and
Yeah, I mean, I got to meet a lot of really cool people. Like I said, I was really
what year was this? Like, did you know that it was like a special place to be when you were there? Was it already?
Yeah, I mean, I caught them pretty early on. A friend of mine, John Lampa, was big into rate beer at the time and had heard about this guy that was coming back from, I believe it was Denmark at the time. Can't quite remember offhand where exactly that timeline lands, but essentially Sean had come and was doing some very small runs at the time, had like 4 small draft runs and was doing growlers, and then occasionally started doing some bottle release stuff. And we were pretty big beer nerds at that time, both John and I, so we were kind of up there fairly often, fairly early for some of the first releases, like Fear and Trembling and stuff like that. But yeah, so it was just one of those things that I liked the way he operated. I appreciated the way he went about building profiles and flavors. I have nothing but good things to say about him. Like I said, I was incredibly lucky to be able to be there at that point in time, because there was a lot of lightning and a lot of bottles up there.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what was your first actual gig? They had the paid gig, I guess. For you.
So I opened a place it was like late 2011, early.
You opened it.
Well, I got a head brewer job with a gentleman who was opening a small 3.5 barrel in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. And essentially I came in, took the job, and started talking to the consultant, who I did not have a lot of good things to say about. We clashed on a lot of things, even when it came to materials that should be used in a brewery versus materials that should not be used in a brewery.
Yeah.
So I kind of took over for him as consultant and did the build out, and essentially just did a lot of the brew house side of getting everything ready and getting bottle programs started. We were doing bottle condition stuff. We actually won some really cool rate beer awards that year. I did a collaboration with Prairie that was a lot of fun.
Cool.
That I still do a variant of to this day. I've been doing that beer for 12, 14 years now.
What kind of beer is that?
It's a Brett Saison.
Nice. So you brought a table beer. I see you have a Briller and Weiss, Beer to Guard. You know, like a lot of farmhouse stuff. Has that always been like your angle?
Yeah, I mean, I like those styles a lot. I think they're a little more open-ended, and I think there's a little more room to play and make something that's a little more unique and memorable, hopefully. That's always the goal. But yeah, I mean, they're a little less firmed up than the styles. Like, you can only have so many Czech Pilsners to replace before you're just like, okay, well, I get the idea. They're Czech Pilsners, but like, I can have 5 different farmhouse beers from 5 different breweries and be like, man, this one was like really nice, had a nice acid profile and lots of like fruit popping. Like, this one was all spice and hay. Like,
yeah,
there's just a lot more movement within that because they are broader styles by nature.
Yeah, I feel like when I went to visit you guys for the first time, like, I was kind of just blown away by a lot of the styles. Like, a lot of the profiles just, I feel like I don't get often. And that was like, it's really eye-opening. It was like, these are good. Like,
so your brother Fresh here, I know in Philly we have Nursery Forum that does a lot of cool stuff. And so I got in brewing at 12, 13 years ago.
Yep.
And during that time, like, the top brewers in the country were all making the Belgian beers, farmhouse ales, and those were considered top brewers. And then everything switched to, like, you can make the best Iggy's IPA for many years. But, you know, craft beer, we talk about all the time, is like just the premium beer segment. And how do you add value to the customer? And I think like stuff like this is a very cool angle that is not just like the latest and greatest hazy IPA, which is what I do with my brewery. So like whatever, but it's like, it is definitely, I think, when another angle that I think the craft beer industry can get back into.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, most of my career has been trying to keep no more than 1 or 2 IPAs to a tap list, no matter where I am.
Yeah.
And I think I've done pretty okay at that. And I like to give people a nice wide range of things. And especially with Concordance, because we have an amazing chef who just knocks quite literally almost everything out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of these things have to be not just low alcohol, but have to stand up to like some pretty hefty dishes. You know, we've got like face bacon and some homemade pasta dishes that come through. A lot of really, really flavorful stuff. Our kitchen is scratch kitchen, so they do an amazing job.
What is face bacon?
Face bacon is pork jowl. I wanted to make sure we had pork jowl on the menu. I don't know why. I love pork jowl. I think it's delightful.
What is it?
So it's basically this part of a pig.
Okay.
Just face bacon. It is cheeks. It is fatty. It is unctuous, and we basically
Does it come in a strip or?
so we braise it like you might braise a pork belly.
Yeah.
Cut it about thumb thick.
Okay.
And then sear it off on the plancha and glaze it. We've changed the fix for it a few times.
Yeah.
Currently, it's with fire roasted peaches, and then we have fresh green beans, and I forget what else is.
Wow.
Right. With Castle Valley Mill grits. Castle Valley Mill is a local mill. We get amazing grits from them. We also get a lot of the flour that we use for our pasta from them because it's a slightly different, more nutty, interesting flour.
Yeah, and you guys are in Old Mill, right?
Yeah, we're in a 300-year-old building. It was built in 1724. It was the Dungworth Mill, built by Emmanuel Dungworth. It was a lookout during the Battle of Crooked Billet in the Revolutionary War. There are legends of, George Washington coming to feed his troops on his way to meet General Lafayette in the, middle of the war. And yeah, it was
It's very on brand with the beers you're making and the recipes that you have. It's like feels like it's kind of like everything fits.
Yeah, that was always the goal, is like something that feels very homey, that feels very much like, you're going into your living room, you're going back in time in a tavern, like that sort of feel is really what we were going for.
I know, so I've been to Vermont. I went to brewing school up there, and they're a Brewers Guild, and all of, not just the breweries, but all the bars and restaurants and everything kind of has that feel where like everything feels like it's like homemade. Yeah. And I'm getting like the energy of that with like what you guys are doing.
And it's really cool because you could just, for the listeners as well, like you could just tell everything that you guys put into it. There's such detail behind it.
Yeah, we're both pretty neurotic.
Yeah, that is.
It's intentional. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like,
Yeah, we put it to good use as much as we can.
but like just the way the space is even laid out. Just like all the details they put it to the menu and the beers, or it's genuinely like it's a place that blows me away that doesn't really happen.
Oh, we do our best. We try not to suck, and every day we don't suck is a good one, right?
Where's the wood by? So did you guys know each other at this point?
Met 15 years ago.
When you were working at your first brewery, did you guys know each other?
I think I knew you from Hill Farmstead days. Yeah, I think from some of the events out there.
We just started in the same beer circles and like weird online beer circles.
Like a Facebook page, or like just kind of like a beer creating a
We were in a weird. Yeah, we were on a Facebook page.
But even pre-Facebook, back when it was just like really tight-knit group, and like it didn't matter where in the country you went to a beer release, you saw the same 15, 20 people, and it was like, oh, and everybody like remembered each other, and it was like, dude, how do you even remember me? We were like drunk in a parking lot in New York for like 4 hours waiting for the Captain Lawrence release, like. But those were, it was a different time. It was a kind of a combination of like concert culture and release culture in a weird way.
business networking.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, back then, we didn't even realize it, and we kind of were. And I mean, that's been very helpful. Like the amount of people that have gotten behind me in one way or another throughout my career has just been like flooring. Like it's nothing I ever expected. Like I just kind of went into it with my head down, just being like, hey, I want to like the things that I make, and as long as I can do that, I really don't care. And they seem to resonate with some people, and that's been, just a really nice bonus that I never would have guessed was in the industry.
I mean, the story he tells about this beer is like, in Colorado, he's like, I want to make this because I want to make this. And it turned into a #1 seller because all the staff tried it, loved it. and it just became something that they pushed because people enjoyed it so much. And I think like that sort of shows like that integrity that like I want this because I want it. I think it's a good high quality product, and I think it'll sell. If it doesn't sell, I still think it's a good high quality product, and so like that's what we're going to do.
So how did you get to Colorado?
So that was like 2018. So I went out there to do kind of a brand reimagining for a place called Black Shirt Brewing Company in Rhino Art District. So I went there and kind of, it was a place owned by two brothers, and one of them did not want to be in the business anymore, and he was also the brewer, and the other one wanted to continue with the place. So I kind of took over as brewer and head of beverage operations for them.
That's pretty long move though to go all the way out to Colorado. Like, did they find you or?
So at that time, a lot of things had happened. I went through some trials and tribulations with mental health and things of that nature. Around like 2017-ish when my dad passed. So like I was essentially looking for anything and everything. I was literally blasting my resume all over the globe.
Okay, cool.
Like the other places I was in talks with, unfortunately we couldn't make the job in Perth work, but I wanted that so badly.
What kind of brewery is that?
That was another small startup, 7-barrel startup that was just looking for somebody that, knew what they were doing. And we started talking, but it was the type of thing where the visa process was so long and arduous that it was like, dude, by the time I get this situated, like you're going to want to have been in business for 6+ months. So unfortunately that didn't work out. And then kind of the opposite problem, I was talking with a place in Hanoi in Vietnam. Then essentially everything was lined up and that was kind of going well. And at the last minute, I kind of got cold feet just based off the fact that like I was worried about kind of like the culture shock aspect of it. And it is kind of a regret of mine, but like air quality, water quality, food quality. And I was like,
Instead of craft beer, like in Hanoi.
I mean, I only know from a few FaceTime calls, but it was starting to get interesting out there. I think a lot of really interesting stuff is happening out there, to be honest with you. I think it's a fascinating area, but it's just, I regret not jumping on that opportunity, but it's also, here I am today. So,
Yeah. So what was your experience like in Colorado?
Colorado was great. I really enjoyed it. I had a family friend out there, so that was nice. I didn't go out there like completely alone.
Yeah.
And then, it was interesting. I mean, it had its share of struggles as well, but overall it was interesting.
What kind of brewery was that? Like you had full reign to do whatever you wanted there?
Yeah, pretty much. They were coming from a place of overproducing cans and IPAs. So they had, I think at the time, it's either 12 or 14 taps. I can't recall offhand. It was at least 12 though. And
IPAs?
Yeah, I think 10 of them were IPAs or IPA derivatives of some kind. And I was just like, we're gonna pull back on that and give people a spread. And I mean, it went better than I expected it to go in the middle of Colorado, where hazy IPAs had a pretty heavy grip on a lot of people. But there were also some really cool places doing some other stuff. I mean, Beer Stop was doing some interesting stuff.
Now is there? What's the brewery now? Who do we have on during Cohesion?
Oh yeah, they just opened up a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, they're in Denver. Waterhouse.
Purely Czech style waters.
Yeah, like
Okay.
to like the nth degree, like extremely as traditional as you can possibly make it. It was their
Yeah, and the tap room like designed like that. From online, it looks like it's like in a shopping center, and then there's just like a little Czech traditional brew house in the shopping. It's
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
what beer should I go forward and ask you?
Probably the Berliner
Okay.
is probably the next run.
And then Abe, like, how did you kind of get into the space? Like, you always liked beer.
I started homebrewing when I was 19 because I realized, because I'm very smart, that they will not restrict you from buying the ingredients for beer, despite the fact that they will restrict you from buying beer. So I started brewing actually when I was 19 in my first apartment when I was a sophomore. And
How did that go? I tried to homebrew in college, and it was terrible.
the first two were terrible, and then they got pretty good. I read a couple books cover to cover. I probably took too much time away from my studies. At one point, I did convince a professor of mine to allow a homebrew part of a final paper, which I am extremely proud of.
What do you like to talk about it?
No, like I submitted the paper and then I submitted a beer with the paper. It was called Beer of the National Revenge. It was a big Russian Imperial Stout, and it was a paper about Louis Pasteur, who did a lot of work around beer brewing yeast, and I convinced him that that was a crucial part of my presentation.
You like it?
I don't remember. I liked it, so it didn't really matter to me. So I like got into beer stuff very early. Met Dave through mutual friends. I did have that lobster on the prairie. I think our friend brought it to our other friend's house probably 15, 20 years ago. Josh brought it to Chappie's and like, yeah. And we, we got into similar Facebook groups and similar threads on Beer Advocate and started chatting and stuff.
We were both angry about the same thing, beer at the same time. So,
So yeah, we've been like chatting ever since. It's a good,
You still have your Reddits now?
no, I'm not. I should be.
I can't do social media anymore. I feel old, but I can't do it. It's just not worth the stress it causes me anymore. Which sucks because I miss a lot of people that I'm not good at keeping in touch with otherwise, but it's like, yeah, good God, I gotta wake up every day, man. Like, yeah, I can't be doing something. It really does. So I held out for a while and then I was just like, nope, this is way too consuming. I don't have the energy for it.
Yeah.
So how long were you out in Colorado for? Was that your last job before you?
Yeah, last beer job. So I was out there for a little while. We were still looking at locations at that point, Abe and I.
Oh, you guys knew you were going to do something back then.
Yeah, it's 22. We've been talking for a while. Yeah, about this as a project. And I was like, if you want to do something special, let me know and we'll see what we can do. I was like, I don't want to do a warehouse operation, but like if you come back with a building with an X factor, like I would be game to do another project. And then we looked at some old churches that were glorious. And then we looked at this building.
Whenever I go to church, Christmas and Easter, I'm like, this would be an amazing spot to throw a party at or have a brewery. The sound is great. It's just like totally open. And it's
Great stooges, getting people drunk in church. It's perfect.
There's in Baltimore, there's Ministry of Beer or something.
Oh,
and it's in a giant church.
Oh, yeah. There's one in Kentucky too. I think.
Oh, really?
It's in it has a bunch of stained glass all over it.
Yeah, and then what's the place in?
I love it.
There's one in Ohio also.
There is. I don't know the name.
Urban Artifact, I think, is in a church.
Something. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they're great locations, but yeah, just logistically, we couldn't make that one work. But yeah, he came back with this, and I was like, I grew up in an old farmhouse that was built in the 1770s, and like it was all post and beam and everything. So I walked into this building, and I was just like, this is hitting nostalgia I was not prepared to be hitting right now. And then we saw the creek and everything else. So we've got a nice creek bed in the back that kind of rustles by, and we've got some patio seating out there. So there was a lot of angles to that building that were like, man, if we can make this work, like it's going to require a little more than a brewery to sustain a building of this caliber. But like, if we can make this work, it could be a hell of a project.
there's
Little did we know,
article
it's a hell of a project.
about you guys, and the title of the article is like Concordance Ferments overlooks a Wawa.
We do.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot more cool things to write it on than overlooking a Wawa.
That's a rock headline.
Yeah.
We are across the street.
Like, there's a lot of picturesque things that you guys are like overlooking, and like it kind of looks great.
Yeah, overlook.
To be fair, right, we're I think still in planning at that time when we first looked at the building, and then by the time we actually went forward with the building, they were already on their way.
Yeah.
But we liken it to they must have done traffic surveys, and it must be successful enough for traffic surveys. So yeah, we were like, maybe this is a good thing.
Yeah, I was telling Evan and Cole yesterday, there's some restaurant, I don't know if it was like Subway or Chick-fil-A or something, just followed everywhere McDonald's went and then just opened up across the street. So they just like saved all this money doing all the surveys.
Yeah.
What was this place before you guys took over? Was it empty or was it another restaurant?
So for about 50 years after it was a mill, it was a tea house and then a restaurant called the Old Mill Inn. up until the early 2000s, it was the old Mill Inn.
What is it, a tea house?
A tea house, I think it was like breakfast brunch,
Okay.
like tea, sort of a place to congregate, things like that. Then most recently, the woman who we bought it from, Linda, she's who still comes by and is an amazing supporter of ours.
Yeah.
She was running it as an event space. She bought it with her husband.
Cool.
I renovated it and sort of brought it back to what it really should be, with
Yes.
stone and post and beam and all those things.
Nice. So was it empty, or how long from when you guys purchased it did you guys take over and start running?
We closed in January of 2024. You started every day, March of 2024?
Yeah, I think it was late February. I can't.
Yeah, late February, early March 2024. And then we didn't get open till October 2025 for reasons. There's a lot going on.
Here now.
Yeah, for here. I mean, listen, it's always hard getting a place like that open. There's always unforeseen stuff that pops up, especially for me who's never done it before. And Dave, when you did it, it was a pad. Like it was.
Yeah, most of the previous projects, yeah, that was one we did from the ground up. So like we literally got to have the initial construction be like, we want floor drains here, we need slope in here, which was amazing.
George Washington and slope the floors for you guys?
But we did it. We did slope and trench drain everything. It was a little extra work, but I think it was worth it. And especially in a building like that where standing moisture can be a really big problem. So the nature of having everything be moderately self-draining to a degree and keeping things as dry as we can in there, which is obviously in a brewery, no easy task.
Hey, brewery or small business owner. At the Beer Accountant, they understand the unique financial challenges of the craft brewing industry. Are you tired of navigating complex brewery accounting and taxes on your own? Staying up late working on financials and getting your finances in order after a whole workday? They're a CPA dedicated to helping breweries like yours thrive, with services ranging from qualified bookkeeping, business tax prep, to strategic financial planning. Stop wasting time on spreadsheets and focus on what you do best: making great beer and running a small business. The Beer Accountant is led by Patrick McDonald, a CPA for 14 years. They are also the official CPA of the Brewers of PA, servicing over 50 breweries in 4 states. If you own a brewery or small business, stop overpaying for reactive support and start being proactive with the Beer Accountant. Don't brew that IPA without this CPA. Visit beeraccountant.com to learn how their specialized expertise can help your brewery grow, profit, and succeed. That's Beer Accountant at beeraccountant.com.
Yeah. So what were your first couple beers that you put out? And you guys came in with the idea that you guys were going to be making these kind of farmhouse style ales.
Yeah, like this is kind of an amalgamation of like my quote unquote greatest hits over the years of things that I've really liked and have done really well in whatever market they were in, which obviously is always an X factor that changes like the weather, especially nowadays. But yeah, we had a general idea of kind of what we wanted to do, especially right out the gate. And I mean, the draft stuff, some people have kind of taken some shots at us about not moving the draft stuff, having enough variance in there. And it's like, just be patient with us. We've got some more canned stuff, and we've got the bottle conditioning program. And when the bottle conditioning program really gets moving, there's going to be a lot more things that you won't see on draft, but our draft offerings will remain similar, just because we think that these are some of the best offerings that we can do for the food pairing side of things, and for having people to have a wide range of options that they can find something. So
Yeah. Are the things that you do in your recipes that are kind of your like ingredients you use, or kind of all over the place?
I mean, kind of all over the place. I just like to build as much as I can, but it takes different forms and different beers depending on what the outcomes want to be. But yeah, I mean, I think I pay a lot of attention to the process.
Well, you said before about the water that you were like very anal about the water. There's the RO system that.
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor in any brewery, but especially in a brewery in a town with not the greatest water supply. I think it's very important for a number of reasons. But yeah.
Was Hatboro like as a neighborhood is like a pub culture, bar culture sort of?
I mean, I think our neighbors are great. I really like being in Hatboro. We've sort of, inserted ourselves into some of the, happenings in the borough. I started, volunteering on the events committee. So they have some stuff at the community center that we've been a part of, which has been great. And I think there's a lot of people who really support us, and it's been great to see, a lot of people come in, because this building is one that people in Hatboro have known for their whole lives. And, we opened up and one of the first people came in and said like, hey, I got married here in 96. It's like, oh, that's really cool. Or like, oh, we had our first date here like 35 years ago.
And like Gillis 2.0.
Yeah, it's like, it's so cool to be like, oh man, like we're sort of like continuing that history and opening it back up to the public and getting people back in there again. It's really cool to be able to.
What's the split between people that come in for the bar and people that just come in and kind of treat it as a restaurant that has its own beer?
I think that we have a handful of people who come in who think of it just as a restaurant, but I think most people think of us as a brewery.
Cool.
And then like get surprised by the food, which is, I guess, always good. I always like surprising people on the upside rather than the downside.
Yeah.
So, that's been something that we've been really lucky to do. Like, the number of people who are like, oh yeah, like I've never had food like this at a brewery. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Good. I'm glad.
Do you swing the layout a little bit too? Because the layout's really just cool. The way you guys had it set up.
We have 3 floors. Our first floor is our bar area. It's sort of loungy. We have big leather couches. We have a projector. It's sort of, we have board games. It's made, the goal there was to make it feel like you're having a beer in your living room. And that was sort of something that we really wanted. We could have probably packed in more tables if we wanted to and got more seats out of it. But I think the like comfort of being able to have that was something we really wanted. The second floor feels a little bit more traditional restaurant vibe. Then we have a patio that overlooks the creek with a bunch of planters on it. It makes it sort of like a nice outdoor space. We have like live music there on Sundays with an amazing trio, Clark Abbott Trio. Comes by. Yeah, Clark's fucking awesome. Comes by Sunday for our brunch. And, then we have our third floor, which is event space, and people have rented that out for like birthday parties, for, anniversary dinners, things like that. And that's been a really fun way to get people into the space, seeing things and,
Yeah, and just like you have different spaces for each sort of part of what you're going for.
Yes, absolutely.
Unique, just like selling point, or it's a good way to. There's so many breweries that I think we've had on it like, oh, we've changed this, so it's like more of a kid friendly space. So it's already like kind of built in for what you guys have.
Yeah, we're sort of, the layout has been difficult in some ways, but really advantageous in others. And I think that's a way that has been extremely advantageous for us. Yeah.
What's it called? Do you guys do like beer dinners? I mean, you guys have the food that you can pair with stuff. Is that something that you guys are doing?
We've done a couple of them, and we'd love to do more.
Because, like I said before, like when I was getting in, we had like it's like a lot of this like the Belgian beers. It's hard to do a beer dinner with like, this is our hazy IPA that pairs with this, or our hazy IPA that pairs with this. You really have to have like a variety of stuff to do that.
Yeah, and as the bottle conditioning program gets more legs to it, I think we'll be able to expand that out a little bit and do a little bit more of like unique experiences with the beer dinners. But like New Year's, we got to for the oxidation project of mine that I've been working on for a very.
What an oxidation project?
Think you a dessert wine guy in any capacity?
Or you call myself a dessert wine guy, but I don't like dessert.
Well, because like a lot of people, even people that drink dessert wines, like you say Madeira to them and they're like, cooking Madeira? And it's like, no, you aren't Madeira. But it's, there's a lot of veins of those like very high sugar, very high acid, very high oxidative qualities, very high alcohol blend of everything that kind of can make something borderline indestructible. Like you dig it up from a shipwreck in 300 years and you're like, fuck, that's good.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. So
well, that's what the founding fathers drank, right? Was Madeira?
Yeah.
Madeira. Yeah.
But it's really interesting.
Is it something that you just pair with it, or you guys are getting up and talking about the beer?
We'd like to do a little more kind of on the education side of it, but that one's a little tricky because it was sort of a side project thing that has carried over with me through many years. But as a dedication to my late dad. So that was something that I felt pretty strongly about. So it's nice to be able to offer that. And have
You guys
like,
made a Madeira or a?
so it is a 40 Plato barley wine is what we started life at this. It is now in,
How long was the boil for that?
if I told you, you'd call me a liar. It's 26 hours.
Jeez. Do you use, and I hope that you put them at the brewery, right? That's not how your brew house exploded?
No. The at Black Shirt in particular, well, now I've already said too much, but at a place I previously worked at, there was an alcove above the fermenters that had a small cot. So I essentially could do that and be about 8 feet away from the kettle.
Nice.
It wasn't the most comfortable, but it was the safest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so it went through forced oxidation, it went through barrel aging, it went through being buried in clay amphoras, it went through a lot of iterations and a lot of beating up, and is still to this day just an indestructible beverage. But unfortunately,
We have 4 bottles about it?
yeah,
We have 4 bottles.
we have
Verity.
a little
Why?
Yeah, so it went in clay amphoras and then bears in my backyard through most of it's just a clay jug essentially. Little taller than
Is there like a reason? Like
It's cool, Evan.
just more coming from the microoxidation standpoint is like, well, we can force oxidize something X amount, but once you get into certain variances and levels, like different things start to happen. So based off of that oxidation, you can also have, your forced oxidation is fast, your microoxidation is slow. So your microoxidation would be things from the barrel aging, things from going in something that's as porous as a clay pot, and then being put in the ground. That breathing and that act of the temperature shift can be enough to really like pull that in and push it back out and do what it needs to do to really get some character from that, but also continue the oxidation.
Are you getting any like mineral character or anything from the clay?
A little bit. It's a pretty bold brew, so there's not a lot of room for like prestigious nuance. But kind of my most favorite thing about it is just like with Madeira, it's like if you think about a flavor and you go into that glass and you hunt for it, you will find it, and you will find it in spades. And like Madeira, you can literally go through whatever flavor you're thinking of and you will be able to pick it out and find a way that it can be put together in that beverage. And that was kind of the goal with this, was be something you could be very contemplative with, something where a little bit of palate aeration goes like a tremendously long way towards opening up the fruit side of the profile. It was a very fun project that was kind of going to be a swan song for me. I started work on a research paper for it, just because there's a lot of information for these types of things, especially for heavily forced oxidation stuff. There's a lot of research on it in the wine world. There's not a lot of research on it in the beer world. There's a couple people like Matteo from Baladin and a couple others that have done like some really awesome forced oxidation projects. I think Dree's even done the one, but I can't remember. Maybe not. I could be misremembering that. But they're few and far between.
So what is the wort like at 40 Plato? Is it like syrup or?
Yeah. So it led to a lot of very interesting things. And I was near a college at the time. So I was able to kind of bring samples and be like, hey, what's going on? Like this yeast should be chewing through this at a faster rate or past this point, and it's not. And I got to learn all about stress proteins.
So what yeast do you have to use? You have to use champagne yeast or something?
So I had a blend of a couple different creeks, or however people want to pronounce it this week. I had a couple of those that were running. I had built a startup of the high gravity, the White Labs WLP 99 or whatever it was, 099. And then it was finished with sherry floor, because even still it would not chew down. So I had to result in bacteria to get the rest of my fermentation down.
And now you're saying like high oxidation. Are you putting like literally 40 parts per million oxygen in it, or what are you doing?
I'm putting a lot of oxygen into it.
Just as much as you physically can?
Not as much as I physically can. It's a staggered kind of profile that gets built out, but it's a lot. Let's just say 40 would be half of phase one.
And I know what's the Sam Adams beer, Utopia.
Yeah,
They like do different yeast strains at different levels, right? Is that what you're doing? You're like,
this was more just I had to get this to ferment out and I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, all right, let's find out what's going on here. And yeah, I mean,
Zen? Yeah. Homestead.
it was very interesting because we learned that, you know, everything can be healthy, but it can still be problematic just if the yeast have built up enough stress from their early life cycles to where they just won't get to where they need to get to.
And what about stress proteins? Is it just what it is? Like if it's I guess if the yeast has been like had a rough childhood and it's like there's no
kind of, yeah. It's, I mean, I'm sure other people know more about this than I do, but it is one of those things that just like you think the yeast will push past a certain point, but when it gets to there, everything can be healthy. You can have enough of a culture. You can then pitch fresh culture on top of that. But if the stress proteins are already there, essentially they will bind. And when they bind, things won't multiply in the same way. And when they don't multiply in the same way, you won't get any fermentation. So you'll have an active starter and you're like, cool, this active starter that I have that's like 3.5 gallons, I'm going to pour 5 gallons of this wort into this and get that going. And then you're like, cool, things are going and things are moving. And then you pitch the whole starter and nothing happens. And you're like, I just pitched 5 gallons of an active starter into a fucking like 6.5 barrel tank and I'm getting nothing.
At what time are you just letting it free rise?
With that, we played with a couple different temps. When we were running the Kveeks, we were going a little higher in like the mid to high 70s just to try and get it to chew down. But that also could have been a factor there that might have helped build out those stress proteins. Like it was more just an interesting experiment that kind of, it led me to a lot of data points and a lot of interesting theories, but I've still yet to do any like reproduction on it. So it's mostly just a fun science project that I get to share with people and hopefully they enjoy it.
So I have a couple questions. So I know you're a software engineer. Mm-hmm. I think I've read online you're AI guy. No,
I did. I worked at a company called Adapar. I built a lot of their data ingestion stuff. I worked at Netflix for a brief period. I was a co-founder and CTO of a small company. We did anti-money laundering stuff.
Okay. Are you involved with any of the brewing stuff, or?
I mean, he bounces ideas off of me. We like kick ideas around a lot. For better or worse, probably have read more books about beer and brewing than my chosen profession. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, but not like a ton. I try my best to keep up.
He's also a tea nerd, so he helps me out a lot with the tea side of the blending things, which gets really interesting really quickly.
Do you guys serve tea?
We do. We have this white tea from, I believe it is Yunnan. It's a pressed white that we use in our afternoon tea. We also use it in a handful of our cocktails.
So I don't know anything about tea. What are the cool things about tea? Like if you're a tea,
it tastes good, man. Like all right.
What are the different things? Like are the teas from different areas of the world?
Yeah. So like the teas. Similar to beer, similar to wine, they have terroir that is based on regions. You have a Chinese green that'll be entirely different from a Japanese green just because of the way that they process the leaves, the way that they kiln it, the way that they kill the oxidation, that they wilt it, the way that they ferment it for potentially for a pu'er or something like that. Like you get to bring in a lot of really cool, interesting characters based on what you're doing when to a tea leaf, and it is really cool to try to learn more about it. It is, yeah.
And where are you adding in the teas into the beer process? Is it just like a dry hop kind of?
We're doing additions in the bright, so yeah, essentially dry teaing it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we do some runs and done some runs with the boil and stuff, but it usually doesn't quite do what I want it to do. So I like to do my small scales and dosing.
Do you have to leave it in a bag, or is it just like you just treat it as hops? You just kind of like throw it in and it drops out?
I mean, it'll drop out. During cold crash, most of the solid stuff will drop out.
It seems like such a like obvious combination to me but like I feel like nobody ever does that mix.
Like I don't want to say it's like super hard because it's not super hard, but it's not the easiest thing to work into a flavor profile and not have it just either take over or be taken over. Like it's really hard to make it
I don't think that you should shy away from it taking over that. I know what Surfside has done.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like I don't think people are shying away from.
I mean, we have been steadily upping our C on every batch of the afternoon tea. I think right now the current batch is pretty much the ceiling of where I would go.
Caffeinated, by the way.
Yes, slightly, yeah. Very lightly.
So you mentioned Kvike, however. I pronounce it Kvike, but I don't know how. I've corrected many times.
I've
It is rough
corrected by my yeast sellers in both directions. So that's why I've just like given up on it. And I'm like, man, I'm sure someone knows how to pronounce it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But they're very interesting yeasts.
Do you use them a lot in other beers?
Not so much in other beers. I've played with them in a couple other beers. Actually, I ran a version of this porter on the same creek that we used for the afternoon.
This is a porter,
not for the afternoon tea, for the barley wine, and that was really interesting. But it wasn't what I wanted, so I went back to the English yeast that I was using previously.
Nice. Are you using a bunch of different yeasts, or you guys have some house strains?
Obviously, so I run way too many yeast strains. It's.
Are you growing them up? Like, because it's farmhouse stuff, you can kind of like do some blends and mixes and kind of like you don't have to just stick with like, this is our house Chico yeast.
Yeah, but we are doing enough stuff that still requires clean yeast that we run through. Like our Pilsner runs through, needs to run through a little quicker in order for me to use that yeast a little better. But yeah, we're balancing a lot of stuff out. We've only been at this project for about a little under a year. So we're still kind of fine tuning a lot of stuff, and especially with the brew house shenanigans, we are, still dialing a lot of things. There's still a lot of consistency that we'd like to bring to the table that is going to be difficult until we get that stuff situated. But hopefully by end of year, we will be fully operational in our own space again.
Yeah.
As far as the brew house goes.
So we're drinking right now the Beer de Garde. Can you talk about this a little bit? This beer is great.
So this is a beer that started life as a mixed culture beer in port barrels. And then when I went to go do it again, I didn't want to just brew 2 barrels of it to put into oak. So I ended up splitting off into a clean version and the mixed culture version. And the clean version actually sold pretty well. It kind of fits the bill for like something a little more interesting than your average English mild. Still kind of.
We were just talking about outside. English mild is very popular right now. Not a huge fan. I don't like them.
When they're done well, man, like even like Fullers and stuff, man, they're just delightful. I like them, but
they're all right. But I would much rather have a table beer, something like a Beer de Garde. Something like this is kind of much more my style.
Yeah, I feel like this is a nice gateway to be like, it's a fairly like innocuous beer to like put in front of someone who's not super well versed about a shitload of beers. And they can be like, oh, Beer de Garde, and be like, well, this is something I've never heard of, but like, there's nothing in the profile that's going to be like, oh, this jumps out as like super rustic or like super farmhousey or anything really. Like it's just a well-balanced kind of pub beer in the same way, English mild or fest beer or anything in that kind of regard. It's just, this was one that was kept for an extra few months in cold storage before it actually came out in spring.
What so you guys are aging stuff in barrels?
Yes.
How many barrels do you have?
Just 4 at the moment.
Okay.
Our first 2 barrel beers will be turning over shortly. Those will probably go in bottles within like a month.
Your barrels are doing work too. They're elevating as tables.
Yes.
Which is the funniest there.
Oh yeah, we have a couple barrels holding up a large slab of wood as a table. But those are aesthetic barrels.
Yeah.
Nice. And then when will you're going to put them in the bottles and then you're going to age them for a bit?
Yeah, so they'll probably be another month and a half in bottles. And then we'll probably end up getting those out.
On the holidays?
Yeah. And
nice.
That's
cool.
But yeah, we'll see how those go. Those are very currently progressing lambic inspired. One is a Chardonnay barrel, or Sauvignon barrel on apricots. And the other is a Cabernet barrel on wild blueberry.
I was going to ask about fruit because like fruit goes very well with the styles that you guys have.
Yeah, I like working a lot of fruit. Yeah.
Nice.
I like fruit beers and I like working with fruit pretty heavily. We've been debating and are still not quite there, but we're going to hopefully get to a point where we can do house-made fruit wines and stuff on site as well.
So that was kind of what I was thinking. Like your name is for Concordance Ferments. Like, I feel like that's got to be pretty purposeful.
The goal was not just to have it be beer, but it was to move into meats, ciders, pickles, kimchis, like misos, like have those flavor profiles come through in parts of the menu as well. Like one of our, it's wings, but one of our wings has a salsa punch gochujang in it. Like that's a Korean fermentation flavor. We have pickles on the menu. So like those types of fermentation.
Is your chef doing that, or is that you guys doing the fermentation stuff?
Chef's doing all that stuff.
Who is the chef? Like, did you guys know him as well, or?
We did not know him, but he's insanely talented. His name is Chef Max Hosey. He's been all over in his career. He grew up in the Scranton area. He started his career in Vermont, New Hampshire, worked at Redbrook Tavern, I think is Redbrook Farm Tavern in New Jersey. He was at Manresa briefly in South Bay. He worked in the UK for a while. And most recently he was running a vegan chef's counter in the, what's it called? You know, like the Reading Terminal-y thing in Chestnut Hill on Germantown Avenue, where Chestnut Hill Brewing is. He had a vegan chef's counter there that he was doing.
Does he make vegan food for you guys?
He makes some vegan stuff for us, but when he came and cooked for us, he made some outstanding meatballs with a like pepper demi, like a sauce au poivre demi type thing, and mashed potatoes, like very
not bad.
So
Oh yeah, he knows what's up.
yeah,
Incredibly pleased with him. Like just and knocked our socks off consistently.
he's a human being who enjoys making fresh pasta, so we always have at least one fresh pasta on the menu.
That's cool.
Last 3 have been filled pastas, and all of it has just been so good.
Having the good food is like a different angle because, you know, like you guys are getting a lot of attention with the newspapers and kind of like traditional media, and some of the stuff that comes in, it's like they're barely even talking about the beer. It's like the food is just so good, and that it's another way to get people to then try the beer. If they're coming in for the food, then you're like, all right, well, these are your drink options here.
Yeah, and part of the thought process was like, with the building we have, I'd like the food to be good enough that some people come in and they don't think about it as if they're like, oh, I come in because I think it's a restaurant, and like this is the beer or wine or cocktail that I happen to get here, but like, you know, the food's good.
I think one consistent thing has just been like we're really proud of the flavor experience we give people in both food and beverage for the amount of money that they will pay for it in a building.
We were saying that as well. Cole was looking at us just like, boy, these are cheap. Now, like, I think I've been living in the city too long.
No, we work really hard to keep our price points as manageable as humanly possible for a lot of reasons. But number one, just being we want to get these flavors in front of people. Like that
we did have
really
one
comes down to.
We wanted to make sure that you could get in, have dinner and a beer for under $20. And so our Andy Warhol, which is grilled cheese, tomatoes, house-made grilled cheese, homemade tomato soup. We roast all the veg ourselves for it. He makes the veg stock from scratch. It's ridiculous.
It's so good.
And then you can get a beer in and out under $20. And like, it's an entry-level thing for people who come in. I don't have a ton of money to spend. Maybe it's like, maybe money is whatever. Or maybe I'm just not down to do a weird, crazy, fancy dinner tonight. I just need a grilled cheese and to not have to do dishes.
Yeah, so you guys had the Andy Warhol special?
Yeah, the Andy Warhol special.
It's like of all the fancy foods, like still just a grilled cheese and tomato soup is the best.
Yeah, man. I lived on the slicks. I love it now.
Yeah, beauty and simplicity, right? Exactly. That's been something that we've been trying to convey through everything. It's just like, things don't have to be super complicated to be amazing. Like there's a reason why bread and butter is known as bread and butter. It's delightful. You put good bread and good butter together and just a little bit of flake salt, and it's like, fuck, it's so good. Why is it so good? It's just bread and butter. But it's stuff like that. And even with the beer recipes, like we stay pretty simple. We do a couple small adjuncts here and there, but like we're not doing like 12 adjunct beers, stuff like that. It's just letting those things shine through. And that's where fermentation gets, the best flavor profiles, is letting those simple things just evolve into something else that's cool.
Is that what Farmstead was like? Are they using a lot of adjuncts or?
I can't speak to that. I mean, we didn't use a whole lot of adjuncts, but any adjuncts that were used incredibly thoughtfully.
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, the biggest thing that I think we all kind of saw eye to eye with was just that obsession with like, okay, we're done for the day. Now let's brainstorm all night and try and figure out how tomorrow can be cooler and better, and try and figure out what we can do and what we can put out there for people. And it was just very enlightening to see someone that driven by just quality. And I think that's what I really took away from that more than anything, was just like, oh man, it really does. It matters if you want it to matter. Like, it doesn't have to matter, but if you want it to matter, it matters so much.
Yeah. Are you guys distributing at all?
No, not currently. Our goal is to hopefully not, but obviously that will be at the hands of the future, and based on our.
I think what's his name, Tom Peters, would love you guys. I mean, he's obviously loves Sean Hill, and you know, because you were there, and like kind of the beers that you guys are making obviously fit very well there.
I mean, and it does fit. We really want to think about our distribution as a publicity, as like getting our name out there and showing who we are. And so that, I mean, if we did distribute, we'd be hopefully lucky enough to be choosy about to who and where and when.
Yeah.
Being 7-barrel, the goal is no distribution. Yeah, because it's just not worth the time and effort to distribute half a 7-barrel batch and be right back at it again and just be like, okay, cool. Like, we sold that for pennies on the dollar versus like, it's just, and again, with a restaurant, it's like, obviously the biggest margin for us is going to be beer across the counter. So like, that's what keeps us alive as a business. Everything else is secondary and is, you know, partial to like, you know, our philosophies and what we want to give people. But like, when it comes down to it, that's what's going to keep us around. So if people want us around, hopefully they will support.
So you brought the last beers to porter, right?
Yeah. So this is a slightly peat smoked porter.
Peat smoked.
Yeah.
The best beer that we've had on here was one that Tom Peters brought in. We'll say it. Peat smoked. What was it? It was.
I know it was called Rook and Lear.
Oh, it's by Minna. I don't know. Windmill. Sorry.
It was a black and white label.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought it. It was like 25 years old. We drank it, and we were like, "This might be the best beer I've ever had."
It literally had a Blum way, like
Yeah.
unlike anything ever.
Unfortunately, this batch locked in a little bit of chill haze, but hopefully that will drop bright. But it is just over 8%.
Smells amazing.
Wow. 8.1.
It does not drink like 8.1.
No.
Wow, that's delicious. Like again, if the listeners like dead or something, like check this spot out. Genuinely, like
Incredible. Like I think you guys we've been open for like about a year now.
We opened October 1st of last year, so we're coming up on our anniversary in a few months.
I just like I can't wait to kind of see like people get to like really learn about you guys and just like
How was the it was the best of Philly that you guys won, right? Best new brewery. I mean, that literally just happened, so maybe you guys haven't seen it, but have you seen anybody come in and be like, I haven't heard about you guys, but we came in because of this?
The response from people who have, you know, spoken to us about it has been extremely positive. A lot of people were like,
Even the previous article was really nice. We just really people come in that were like, we didn't know anything about you guys, and then we read about you in Philly Mag. So
it was very satisfying. I don't spend a lot of time on Reddit, but I did happen to see the best of Philly thread in the Philadelphia Reddit subreddit. I'm like, I'll check it out. And they were arguing about like, oh, there's so much stuff in the burbs, and the best this is in Doylestown or whatever, and this one's in New Jersey. And then one person's like, say what you will about the suburbs thing, but Concordance is legit. I'm like, yes, thank you. I appreciate that, Stroger.
we've seen done that. What was their coins? We've seen this style go like weird podcast you listen to, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, we saw our podcast.
Well, then we instantly ruin it by jumping on a comment team like, oh, I like that one too.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah. I like Monkey Reg 13, just some like random eat.
Yeah.
Nice. So what do you guys have kind of moving forward? Do you guys have beers? Are you guys doing? You guys have the opportunity to do something like so seasonal because, you know, kind of what you guys are doing is are you guys going to go by the seasons? Is it more the same thing?
we kind of roll through. So like depends on what's in season as far as adjuncts and fruit and things of that nature. And we grab what we can when we can. But yeah, I mean, it's just been kind of, once the bottle program starts getting through, like that'll be a lot of our variation stuff there. Yeah, I mean, I think I lost track of the question there.
Or you guys making seasonal stuff? Like when things roll out, like is it going to be?
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Do you have the next 6 months planned?
No,
or is it just week by week? Like this is what I'm feeling.
I mean, we have a general idea, and I have like things that I want to accomplish and get out there. Like we've got a couple Russian Imperial versions that we want to get out there. We've got some other German beers without going too deep into everything we want to do before it happens. But we've also been toying with some cider stuff, which has been mixed. So we weren't really happy with our, so this will be my first commercial ciders that we made here. We had some issues with our low ABV stuff, but our high ABV stuff, our ice cider is really good, real nice. I'm very happy with that. And I love ice cider anyway. So that was something that I really wanted to come out well. And the same with the meads. We've just been kind of struggling with some of the session stuff for the meads as well. So trying to dial in our processes for all these things and get them a little more up to snuff before they come out full-size batches and stuff. But
do you have a winery license?
So the limited winery license is what we're looking into now. It's been a little bit of a back and forth between state and federal, and some people not understanding what is available. So we've been kind of back and forth with that, just trying to make it work. But before any sales stuff happens, yeah, obviously the limited winery license is in our future, to be able to do those kind of things. But for right now, just with the ice ciders and stuff, those might even be, it's going to be like between, if I'm lucky, 50-ish bottles. If I'm really lucky, 70-ish bottles, and 187 mils, like little guys. So these were just like super early test batches.
What kind of cider is it? Like what, what apples you're using? Or?
So this was a blend that we got. I am struggling to remember the orchard offhand. Guys? No, so we didn't go through them yet, but they're who we are going to go through when we do larger scale. They'd have a lot of single varietal stuff that he's like, if you come early enough, I'll get you loaded up. But we just haven't done any large scale batching for that stuff yet, because obviously the limit winery license and just the nature of trying to dial those things in, because I'm not as well versed with them as I am with beer. Every time I end up having a hiccup with one of those projects, it's nice to go back to the beer and be like, oh yeah, okay, I do have some general idea of what I'm doing.
Nice. Cool. Your beers are incredible.
Appreciate that.
I need to come visit you. I mean, you've been there. I need to come try the food. But obviously, like, it's great. You guys are winning all these awards. You guys are less than a year old. So,
that. We're doing our damnedest.
Yeah, I think and we talk about it all the time here. It's like bringing beer back to something like what I'm talking about, like the Belgian beers, the farmhouse beers. I think with the brewing industry, when it was booming, there's a lot more variety there. So, it's almost like if everyone's trying to make the hazy IPAs, and I know I'm literally the culprit of this, I literally only make IPAs, but it's like if there is more variety, it just becomes a healthier industry in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, just like with anything, you're going to have people that don't like certain profiles. And if you're unable to cater to them, that might be fine for some people, but it feels really unfair to me. So I'm like, man, if you're a brewery, you should have a variance that's enough to, cater to at least the general amount of people that would come through.
I feel very lucky and happy that when I'm behind the bar and I'm pouring something from our tap, I'm almost always able to find at least something that someone likes. If they come and they tell me like, I don't like this, I don't like that, there's always something I can pull and be like, I think you'll like this one.
Yeah, because you don't have traditional beer. So even people that come in, they don't like traditional craft beer or just
people
beer
say I don't like beer, I pour them that thing and they're like, oh, this is really good. What is this?
Even Halstead, even the Beer Guard too, moves really well with people who are like, I'm just not into like crazy beers. And it's like, check this out. And they're just like, oh, I like it. It's like, all right, cool.
Not even that though, but like your cocktail program and like either NA like cocktail.
Yeah, we do a bunch of mocktails and cocktails.
Fucking good. Like really fucking good.
Yeah, agonizes over this. He does an amazing job.
Well,
He won't let you know, but he does an amazing job with it.
A lot of it's very like standard and basic. I don't think we do anything too crazy, but I think the goal is like,
It's building profiles, man.
yeah,
it's all the same
it's
stuff.
building profiles, do things well. My dad and my brother both don't drink. My brother less. My dad hasn't drank for 30 some years. And so like, it's really nice to be able to show them something nice when they show up. And increasingly there are a lot of people who just don't. And it's really good to be able to hand them something and have it feel as special as, you know, a beer or a cocktail or a wine or whatever.
Do you know Danny Childs?
I don't know.
He does. I don't know. What's his Instagram handle? Slow Drinks. Slow Drinks. He does like a lot of cocktail programs. So I'd actually someplace up down the street.
Oh, cool.
But he does all local ingredients, foraging. He wrote a book last year that just won the James Beer Award.
Oh,
I feel he does a lot of work with Toad, puts out some beers like you guys are doing, and he does a lot of work with them.
that's really
But it just reminded me.
I'll have to read that at some point. Part of actually the difficulty of the cocktail program is finding Pennsylvania wines and spirits that are like really good and fit what we want to do. And we've been super lucky to find some extraordinary people in the city, even like Mural City is extraordinary. And you know, yeah, they're so cool. They're amazing. I love those guys. Tim Queter over at Fell to Earth. I never expected to find a vermouthery in Philadelphia, and oh my God, he does some of the coolest stuff, Amaros and Fernets, and you know, I don't like vermouth, but I love his vermouth. And we've been able to just find some really cool, passionate Philly, Pennsylvania, some are specifically Philly producers. Resurgent does our bourbon and our gin. Again, not a huge gin fan, but they make like this herbaceous, gardeny gin that is so good. So it's been really cool to be able to find those local producers, and it does make it feel like we're doing a little bit more like a, you know, Pensy thing. I don't know, it's kind of cool. But yeah,
That's cool. Then where can we find you guys online?
we have a Facebook page, Concordance Ferments. Our Instagram handle is at Concordance Ferments. If you hit up our website, concordanceferments.com, we have a mailing list and everything that we keep up to date as of, you know, whenever we're able to send out some emails. Yeah. Or show up. We got you.
What's your address?
We're at 18 Horsham Road in Hatboro, right across the street from the Wawa.
One of the liar that Wawa down.
That's so funny. Well, thank you for coming on. These beers are amazing, and it's nice to get to know you guys because we have not met, but I'm sure that we will cross on the paths because you guys are making amazing beers. And then you can find us at BrewedAt, at the BrewedAt podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, 5 stars, please. Thank you. Bye bye.